Okay, what's up, guys? It's Chase Plays here, and welcome back to part 2 of how to hack and mod a Unity engine game in C++. So, part 2, we're going to be going over how to use the helpers. All right. So, this is a mono API helper that I created. This is my GitHub. You can check it out all you want. It's pretty lame, not much stuff. Only cool things I have is like maybe some few sources for a few games and uh, some base templates you can learn off of, and my two helpers. I have the Mono API helper and I have a IL2 CPP helper. So first thing I'm going to go over is the helper class. Now, what is this helper? What does it do? Okay, so we're going to be focusing on this folder, this mono folder. All right. Um, Essentially, we're going to start off with the first file. Okay. Now, this is just going to get the module that we need. We need to get module mono-2.0-bdwgc.dll. Now, how I figured that out is because if I go to Risk of Rain 2, and I believe it's in embed runtime. Yep. Yeah, this is the mono DLL that is loaded into memory. So this is what we're going to use to reference. All right. So once we get that, we can use this. We're referencing this because it has all the exports. So if I were to load it into IDA and check the exports, you would see all the exports that we need. So this is the exports that I'm using mono domain assembly open, assembly get image, class from name, class get method from name, blah 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 blah, blah all this stuff. Okay. So all this stuff is what we use to create the mono types. Now these are um, we're just pretty much making a wrapper in C++. But you don't have to worry about this if you don't really care. But for those who actually want to learn how it works, you can just look it over. Now, this is the main class, mono.h. Whenever you're done, whenever you want to use this, you want to inherit this class. And this is pretty much, it's going to handle the mono assembly. So remember in dnspy, what did I tell you? If you were paying attention, this is an assembly. Unity engine.core module is an assembly. So we gather the assembly by getting the name. So what do we pass into this name? We simply pass Unity engine.core module. Okay. So now we have a assembly pointer. Now, how do we get a mono class? Well, it's asking for an assembly name, it's asking for a namespace, and it's asking for the class name. So, assembly name here, Unity Engine core module, Unity Engine namespace. All right. If you want to get add component menu, that's it. Unity Engine core module, Unity Engine as a namespace, and add component menu as the class. Okay, and then that's a static field, as a static method, so we can just easily resolve a class. And method, same thing. Just pass in all that stuff, get the name. So if we want to get let's find one that has multiple same names but it's multiple. Uh Not really finding one here. Okay, anyways, let's say we want to call add command buffer. The name is add command buffer and it has two parameters, camera event and command buffer. And we'd pass the name add command buffer here, and then count would be 2. Now you're probably wondering why isn't count 3 the parameter count 3 because you have to wouldn't you have to import the instance? No, this is just for gathering the method offset, so no, you don't got to. Um, but if there were to be the same name but multiple different parameter counts, then that's what is used to distinguish the difference. Then we have static call functions. You can use that to just call. Now, this is what I was talking about, guys, when I said value types, which is structures and stuff like that, that they need to be unboxed. All right. So what this does is here is you put in the assembly name, namespace name, class name, uh, method name, count, and then the object that is storing the data we want to access. All right. And then the parameters for the we're gonna have to pass in the parameters for the method so we can call it. Then we're gonna We're gonna mono object. We're gonna reinterpret cast the template pointer to a mono object unbox. So whatever is returned from this unbox is gonna be casted to template. Then mono runtime invoke. It's going to call the method. That's what mono runtime invoke is, and then method.resolve resolves the method, and then we call. And this method should already be the what's it called? The address of the method in memory. Okay. So this is for mono, by the way. And then we can, if it's not, we can just do a regular call. And I also have comments that you can read here too. Field, same thing. You can resolve a field any class. So if I wanted to get, let's find a field we can access, guys. Uh, it's very hard now. Much of these classes store any fields that we can see. Most of them are backed fields like this one. Sorry, not this. This. It's It's actually okay. Well, it's not showing now, but would require the backing field. Let's just load up the Risk of Rain 2 assembly. I'll do ROR2 character body. This is the class of Risk of Rain 2 that has that stores entity information. So let's say for this, if we want to get it's fine, level damage. All right. It's a field that's associated with a class instance, so it's not static. We say we want to get this. All right, we just call field resolve, and then if we have to get the value, if it's not a static value, we call get value. All right, and then we pass in the pointer that stores the mono object that which would be um the class. We pass in the class's mono object. You'll see later when I show you what I mean, so I wouldn't worry about it too much, okay? So everything inherits mono object, by the way, and this is mono object. Okay. We also have a array class here too. Automatically done for you. Everything is done for you. All you have to learn is to figure out how to use it. So we're going to go ahead and download this, and I'm going to go ahead and get it set up on my Visual Studios, and I'll come right back. All right, so now that we're back, I have my Visual Studios loaded up. Once you load up the folder, the file, excuse me. Once you load that up, set it to release x64, or if I don't know if there's any Unity games at x86, but then we're gonna do show all files, and first we're gonna take a look at our main. So this is for DLLs, by the way. It's for DLLs. This isn't for external. So sorry to mention if you're trying to do this external, this is not this is not the class for you. This is not the tutorial for you. All right. So I already have this set for Risk of Rain 2 on the public GitHub, but we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna redo everything anyway. So um, this is actually a hook that I was doing. Like I said right here, we can already take a look at this. I was hooking the update method in character body. So that's another way you can get the instance to a character, any class that you can't find from a list. Make any kind of static entity list. You can actually just hook the function. Yeah, like let's just go ahead and take a look at it. See if we can find it here. Yeah, right there. All right, I'll just look it up anyways. Say we want to update. So update, if we hook this function, you see it's not a static method. So if we're ever to be called, it would require a character body instance, right? But if we hook this and using my resolver, if you just resolve it, this is assembly name, ROR2. This is the namespace name, ROR2, class name, and method name. And what's the parameter count? Is 0 because why, guys? Over here it's 0, and this is the this is just to gather the mono address. No, sorry, no, the method address. And then I already have an automatic hook function using minhook. You can actually change this to whatever you want, but this is minhook, and it automatically enables. So you can also change it to a custom hook class to see how you want to handle it. Anyways, we got update hook, and we're here. Is just we create um our detour, and then we have the original here. So right here, this method, it calls update on every single character body instance. So guys, that means you're gonna have access to the entity list. But if you were to want to draw, you would have to, since it's not drawing, it's not actually a list. You would have to save this to a list. But right here, I don't know why I have it like this. I'm already hooking it if I already have the instances. You wouldn't need to do this if you were to have. I think it's because I don't have DX11 hook set up yet to do drawing, so I can't do this in present. But once you do get that set up, you want to do it in present scene. All right, guys. So that means like you would want to do all your drawing in present scene and getting all the data and caching it all in present scene. Now, let's go on ahead. Once you put all this, when you do your project for the hook, just include this whole folder, and all you have to do is include mono.h. That's it. That's all you gotta do. So what I usually do is I've learned from a few friends. They create a SDK folder and they create sdk.hvp, and then these classes they just use this um to create their own SDK. So you want to create a sdk.hvp and then include this as the first folder because this is a include hierarchy. So every time you include something here, all right, it's gonna include it's automatically going to include mono.h. So let's look at the component class first. Actually, no, let's take a look at vector. So right here, this is a structure. We created a structure vector 3. All right, we're gonna want to follow how C# does it. If C# it's a structure, we shoot a structure. If it's you don't actually have to follow that for classes. You can do whatever you want. You can actually make it a class. If it's a class in C#, you can make it a class and you can make it a structure in C++, even though it's a class in C#. Just treat it as a pointer, okay? So I have me calling methods here. That's how you're gonna want to call a method. I'm gonna go through it one by one with you. But let's move on from this class and we're gonna take a look at component. And component does what? We're gonna go ahead and look at this ourselves. So component is, sorry, let me move this back on screen. Component inherits object. Now this is the mono object and we want to do something instead. How about I'll do it with you guys. We're going to go ahead and create our own class. So our first class together, not one that's been provided for you, but let's create one. Let's create a Unity engine class. All right, we're going to name this uObject.hvp. And then the new object, it's remember, take account into the hierarchy. If we want our classes to include it, we want to do, well, we know that system.list is never going to need it. We know vector's never going to need it, so we just include it here. Let's do class and uObject, and let's go ahead and open up uObject. So uObject is going to be the Unity engine object class. And I remember we went over that in the last um, tutorial, and we're going to go ahead and make a class. We're going to make a wrapper for this. So we're not going to call this, I mean, we could, but we're not going to call that right now. Actually, I should show you guys how to get the type so you're not confused, but it's actually pretty simple to do. So actually, I will go ahead and create this, but what I want to do is get the end cache pointer, okay? So in uObject, the first thing we're going to do before um, we're going to do struct int pointer, and then we're going to store void pointer m value. Okay, so that's the int pointer structure, and then we're going to do class uObject public object. Now, why do we do public object? Well, let's take a look at, oh, sorry, wrong one. Let's take a look at the interfaces and base types. So the base type of Unity Engine object is what? System.object. And what is system.object? Well, I've done it for you right here. Okay, so don't worry about that. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to declare it public. And we're going to do, let's see, what do we want to implement first? Let's implement getting the field. So we want to get this field here. So if once we get a valid UObject instance, we're going to do, hey, let me just size that up real quick. Okay. Let's do int pointer. It's not a structure. It's the inside C# is a structure, so it's not a pointer. Int pointer let's see, get cached pointer. Okay. And then we're going to do, if we know that we're accessing, if we're inheriting a class, if we're gonna use this as a class inherit and use this to inherit into a class, we cannot do this dot get field. We cannot call that, and I'll tell you why. Because the way the helper works, it's gonna resolve the object. So when you do this dot get field and you're inheriting it, so let's say we do public instead of inheriting it system object, we inherit public U object. If we try to call component get cache pointer from component, it's going to try to look for the field mcache pointer in the component class, which, well, it's not going to be there. So what we're going to do is, which is good practice for you guys to do, is just do this class dot let's resolve. We're going to do Unity Engine dot core module, and then the namespace is Unity Engine and classes object. Okay. Then we're going to do get field m cache pointer, and we're going to do get value this. All right, and then we're going to cast that to pointer. So you're probably thinking, why are we still passing this? Well, it doesn't matter because component, since it does inherit Unity Engine object. Um, when you pass in this to get value, it's going to automatically resolve that for us. But unfortunately, we cannot call this dot get field. The only time you would be able to call this dot get field, what's it called? M cache pointer get value int pointer. The only time you would be able to call this is if, let's say, you get the direct instance of UObject. So let's say like some kind of method returned a UObject pointer, and let's just say we're gonna treat this shit as null pointer. So let's say you call this, right? All right, and then it returns a UObject pointer. All right, so now you're in UObject class. Only then could you ever return this dot get field. You get me? So let's move on from that, and let's say this would be, we will return end pointer this way. So that's how we get the end pointer, and then we just get end value. Um, you don't have to do call virtual type value type anymore because we're actually just getting the field. It's not going to be boxed. But let's just say we can try here, get cache pointer. It actually has a method for that. So let's go ahead and do that instead. Show you how to work with that. We would do method call virtual type, and we're going to ask for the int pointer. All right, and then we're going to do ASM is Unity Engine core module, Unity Engine, and class is object. Name is get cache pointer. There is no parameter count, so we set this to 0. And then the mono object is going to be this. And the parameters, since there's no parameters, we can just leave it empty. And there you go. That's how we would be able to get the class right there. All right. So let's move on from that. I mean, not the class, get the cache pointer. That's one in the structure. So this is, if you were to do this, if you were to go ahead and do this, Sorry. If you were to try to even do this, it's going to crash. And it's also going to ask for that. It's this right here. If you were to do this, this is what's going to happen. Your game is going to crash, okay? Even though you're returning a structure, and obviously if it was a class you would make it a pointer, but it's not a class, it's a structure, so it's a non-pointer. If you were to return this, you're going to crash, okay? Because Unity boxes up their methods, so that's why we have to um call virtual value type and pass it in like this. So don't get these two mixed up. You got to remember this when you're working with Mono, all right? Okay. So if there were to be parameters over here, I already have a template. So if you wanted, if say it had like a int, like 3 ints, you do 0, 5, 1. There you go. Just pass that shit in. Okay, that's it. We're gonna go on ahead and implement find objects of type. So it's asking for, it's returning an object array. So let's go ahead and do that. We're gonna do array u object pointer, array pointer holding u object pointer, find objects of type. And then it's going to ask for a type pointer. Remember, what is a type? A type is a class, right? Class system type. So type pointer, then we're going to do class type. So what we're going to do, we're going to return method call. We're going to call array u object pointer, array pointer. And we're going to implement this. We're going to pretty much be reinterpreting. We're going to reinterpret cast it, and it's going to automatically call the function. So that's why we have to declare this parameter here. And we're going to do, we need to get the u object type, right? So we need an instance of u object. So we're going to do u object pointer, and we need a type pointer. Okay. So we have to get, this is the parameters here, u object pointer and type pointer. That's what we're going to put in over here. So right here is the return, is what we want to return. And over here is what the parameters are. Now I know it does not, it's not asking for an object, uh, u object pointer here. Sorry, a Unity engine object pointer here. That's because C# automatically resolves class. Obviously, you should know that. And I apologize. I've probably been off screen for a while. I was not paying attention to that, anyways. We're gonna go ahead and put in Unity engine core module, Unity engine, and we're going to do object name, and let's just hurry up and copy and paste this. Find objects of type and parameter counts 1. And then we're gonna input the parameters here to cast it. It's gonna be this and C type. And there you go. You have now can get all the objects in the game. So let's go ahead and try to call that. And this is actually a static function, so let's declare it static. Don't forget about that. So if we wanted to call that, we would just do this. We would do u object, find objects of type, and then we're going to do type. Actually, I think we can resolve type class. And let's say we want to get material. Resolve. Then let's say it was Unity Engine core module, Unity Engine material class. Okay. And then, sorry, not sure which one I put it in. It's in one of them. I'm sure it's in one of them. It's either in, oh, okay. I think this is the one where I actually haven't developed a type for it. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm going to go ahead and update this for you inside of the GitHub. And um, you can just copy and paste the type structure I make. So 1 second. Okay, sorry, I'm back. And I've also noticed I've made an error in making the method. It's static, so there's no need to even pass u object pointer. Sorry, guys. And you're probably wondering, like, is this guy stupid? Yeah, he's pretty stupid. And there's also one thing I forgot to mention. You don't actually pass in type pointer You actually need to type in object. You need to pass in the object pointer, but you still need to get the type of a class, and this would be C type get object type right here. So this is the object type right there, and that would be what you passed in. So whenever it's asking for a type, you can provide a type here, but you're gonna need to ask the parameters. You're gonna have to put in type object as the parameter. So over here, we'd go into here and we actually resolve this in type instead. So it would be Unity Engine core module, Unity Engine namespace, and material, and then get that would be it right there. And there we go. That's how you would be able to get the auto. You can get the array, and then in this array you can get length. And let's just say we want to do an iteration for uint 8ti equals 0, I is less than array get length. And we can access the value at index based I by doing this. We can do auto uobj equals array get value. Oh, sorry, it would actually be a would yeah, okay, we were returning a u object. Is that how I set it up in here? Yeah, that would be it. At I and uobj we could access the cache pointer, but since it would be material, let's say we had a we wanted the component of every single class, then that would be a whole new thing, a whole new story to worry about, right? And instead of using this u object, we should initialize a template. So instead of here, we ask for a t pointer, and right here would return what we want. As long as it inherits Unity Engine object, it'll be fine. All right. So if we do this, and let's say we wanted a component, so this would now be component. It's going to automatically resolve this for us. Well, let's see, issue cannot be component. Okay, yeah, that's right, because automatically doing that. It just depends on how you set it up, really. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, it really depends on how you set it up here. If you were to just do T, which we actually should just do T. Sorry about that. You should just set it as T. So if it was to be a structure, then um you could do it that way. The new obs you want to get transform and then get position. Boom, now you got the position of all the components that you just found. So but you wouldn't want to do it this way. It's very resource intensive, but this is just an example. All right, so we've created our own object, our own class already for U object. We've created our own and included it in the SDK. So right now you can just go take a look at the transform and stuff like that. I don't know why that is there, and this should just be a regular vector3. Sorry, guys. You just go ahead and fix what you can, what is wrong here, but I'm gonna leave that up to you to figure that out. So this is just the basis of all the stuff like that, and that was showing how to get, um, you know, instances. And there's also a good example here. See, I get the instance array, which over here in character body, there is a static list that stores all the loaded entities. Here, this instance list is created by the game, and it's a static list that stores all the character bodies. And you can actually access that. I'm pretty sure I have it set like here. Yeah, right here. This is how you access a static value. You see static field value. We're getting the assembly, namespace, class name, field name, get static value, what kind of list we want to reinterpret it to, and boom, that's it. And I have other methods I use to call But here, like I mentioned, guys, I'm directly calling get field because I know that the array is storing a character body pointer. I know for a fact. And I also know for a fact level max health is associated with the class instance type. So obviously it's smart to just do that right there. And this is how you can set values. And if you want to get value, it's pretty obvious. Say we want to do body get field, level max health, get value, and want to get value float. And then I think you pass in body. There you go. Yeah. And you're done. So it's literally that simple. And I know it's in the update. It's inside the update hook, but usually you want to do this stuff in present scene, and there's no need to call this an update at all. Update hook at all. So don't worry about this. But if you can't find a list or entity list, a static entity list that you can access, then start hooking. Hook for the information. If you can't even hook for the information, that's when you call in Unity engine object, find object of type. That's when you start calling it in. Okay. And I'm just gonna do an example for this here too. We can do character body pointer, and let's do type resolve ROR2 ROR2 character body. All right. And then now we can do auto array, and now we can loop through the array. Then we're going to do character body equals r get value at index base I, and we can check if body is null pointer. If it is, continue, or you can handle however you want and access body like this, and boom, now we have access to body, instance of body, and however much you set it up to. Since it inherits transform, we can, well, since it inherits component, it automatically is going to inherit all the component methods we set. So we just do get transform and get position. And now look, we have the position of the character body. And if we look up here, what does character body inherit? Well, it inherits a lot of stuff like network behavior. It also inherits component. And what can we get with component? We can get the transform. So if we take a look at my component class, it automatically does that for you. So it inherits, so we set it to inherit Unity engine object, and inside character body, we are inheriting component. So it's that simple, guys. You don't have to worry about nothing. It's pretty much plug and play. You just have to create the class yourself. And here's also the list class that you can access, and this is what's you can use this to iterate through the list and stuff. And guys, it's literally that simple. You don't have to worry about updating when there's an update. As long as the class paths stay the same, you are good to go. So that's it for part 2. On part 3, we're gonna go ahead and set up a we're set up an IMGUI menu, and we're going to create a DirectX 11 hook and start drawing over entities. All right, see you guys later.